What if I told you that scientists just created a human egg from a skin cell? This is not hypothetical, it's real. Lab-based science that's happening now. In this video, we're going to explore how they did it, where we are, and why this could be revolutionary for same-sex couples that want biological children. When this method becomes safe and reliable, it could open up a whole new world. This could impact any woman who has lost their fertility due to illness, cancer treatments, even age. They might be able to regain options. And same-sex couples could potentially have children genetically related to both partners. That said, we're very early in this journey. There's promise, but challenges and ethical questions to face. So let's talk about how they did it. Researchers removed the nucleus from a skin cell, which contains 46 chromosomes. Then they removed the nucleus from a donor egg cell, and they inserted the skin cell nucleus into the empty egg cell.
Ooh.
And because the skin cell nucleus has two sets of chromosomes, it must discard one set to become a fully functional egg. So researchers induced a process called mitomeiosis, which is a hybrid of mitosis and meiosis, to drive that reduction. Don't get lost in the terms. Basically, they took the nucleus from the skin cell and put it into the egg cell after they removed the nucleus. And what was generated was a functioning egg cell. And they didn't stop there. What researchers did next was they took the resulting egg and fertilized it with sperm in the lab, just like they do with IVF. And out of the 82 reconstructed eggs, roughly 9% made it to the blastocyst stage, which is about 6 days into reproductive development. But most of these had chromosomal abnormalities that didn't process past the early stages. In other words, many of these lab-created eggs and embryos carried too many or too few chromosomes, which means they're not viable. And ultimately, none of the embryos that were created in this experiment were viable beyond those initial few days. And all of this is in its very early stages. This is a brand new experiment that was done. So it will take time to refine. We don't know the long-term risks. And clinical use of this is likely a decade or more away at the earliest. And if this does work long-term, then we will have to have the conversations around how do we regulate this. But when I heard about this research, I found this deep hope, especially for queer couples. The LGBTQIA+ community has so many boundaries and limits when it comes to family planning. And we could do a full deep dive on what all of that is and looks like. But for the purposes of this video, this research gives me hope for this community to be able to have children that could be genetically related to both partners, because the current science is limited and it doesn't allow for both partners' genetics to be in their future child. Today, same-sex couples have to rely on donor eggs, sperm, or adopt. But if you could turn a skin cell from one partner into an egg and fertilize it from the other partner, then both partners' genetics would be in that embryo. How cool is that? And for me, it's not just about expanding options, it's about creating equality in biological parenthood. So before I get too excited, I have to remind myself that we are at the proof of concept stage, but the path forward is really exciting. And this is just another example of the amazing work that science can do. Now, I am not a scientist. This video is for informational purposes only, but I'm curious to know if you are as excited about this as I am. I am always looking for the latest and greatest research on fertility, health, and healing. And so if you are into that too, let me know in the comments down below. I'm Jess Timms. I'm a certified fertility doula, and it is my mission to support people on their path to pregnancy, no matter what that looks like. So I would be so honored if you would hit that like button if you like this video, and consider subscribing for more information on fertility, health, healing, and support.